covering news where you live. This is 5 News at noon.
Well, right now at noon, emergency crews across Arkansas are still trying to get a total of that damage caused across the state from Wednesday's storms. Take a look at images captured of the tornadoes from RDOT's iDrive cameras in northeast Arkansas. You can see as the lightning strikes, the massive cloud becomes visible there in the distance. And take a look at this damage from that storm in Lake City. You can see cars thrown into trees and houses destroyed. The Arkansas Division of Emergency Management reports that 22 counties have reported damage as tornado warnings broke out all across the state. And in Missouri, one person is confirmed dead after that same severe weather system rolled through there. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, the death happened between Advance and Delta. Also, a Highway Patrol trooper was injured in his home in Advance, and he went to the hospital, but he's okay now. Well, thank you for joining us for your 5 News at noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with Joshua Weisel. And here at home, we've been watching the weather too. It sounds like the main thing today is a lot of rain. Yeah, we've already had a lot of rain this morning. We may see additional chances later tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be busy. Taking a look outside, you can see quite a bit of rain activity has fallen already. Not dealing with a flash flooding risk for now, but maybe in the next couple of days, as this is just the start of some heavy rainfall we'll see over the next several days. Here's a look at Poto, and you can see cloudy, dreary, and some rain off in the distance. So it is a wet start to the day. It's going to continue to see some rain for the next couple of hours, and you can see most of the activity is in the river valley. Side note for yesterday, that outbreak across portions of the southern plains in our state, all the way into the Midwest. Before I looked at the show, there were 225 tornado warnings issued across that outbreak yesterday, so it was a lot. Fortunately, we missed the worst of it, and today, a couple of storms this morning were capable of some hail, even some winds. You may have noticed in northwest Arkansas some pea-sized hail at times, but overall today, not as intense in terms of severe weather potential. We're talking maybe a couple of hail producers, maybe some wind. Overall, today is not the best day in terms for severe weather. Now, we don't have any sort of severe weather watches, but a flash flood watch is in effect until Sunday, so it covers all of our county coverage area. The risk today, like we said, it's not going to be as significant as further to the south and east. Unfortunately, some of these storms may be capable of some hail up to 1 inch, maybe some winds 50 to 60 miles an hour. It does clip portions of our river valley counties where there could be a little bit more of an enhanced risk for that hail and damaging winds. Tornado probabilities are well to our south, so we're not going to be dealing with that today, but can't rule out, especially along the south of I-40, a couple of storms capable of that damaging wind and hail potential today. So we're going to be watching that. And then we have an active next couple of days that we're going to be talking about. Of course, storm chances today, tomorrow, into the weekend. Flash flooding is going to be a concern as well. And then a cooler start to next week with a potential for a freeze. So we're going to get into all those details. It's a complex one. Stick around. We'll have more on that coming up. Thanks, Joshua. Well, cleanup is underway in Owasso after a tornado ripped through the city, leaving widespread damage in neighborhoods on Wednesday morning. There were no immediate reports of injuries there. However, the tornado did heavily damage the roofs of homes, knocked down power lines, trees, fences, and sheds.
We had about 20 seconds to start getting up, getting ready before we started hearing the wind picking up and debris start kind of going everywhere.
Emergency managers there say the winds also tipped over several semi-trailers near a factory. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has declared a state of emergency after severe storms, tornadoes, and power outages hit parts of Arkansas. And again, this video shows that tornado near Lake City in the northeast corner of the state near Jonesboro. The Arkansas Division of Emergency Management, as we said that 22 counties have reported damage and multiple injuries have been reported in Craighead County. No deaths have been reported, but it's estimated the storms in northeast Arkansas also left nearly 37,000 people without power last night. Well, with the threat of more rain and thunderstorms, downtown Bentonville has canceled First Friday for tomorrow. So the spring event season will continue with the beginning of the Bentonville Farmers Market on April 12th. And First Friday, presented by Walmart, will return now on May 2nd. Well, the city of Fayetteville is adding new jobs to help manage stormwater runoff and flooding. The city council approved the hiring of 9 new positions during this week's meeting. The vote also authorized the purchase of new equipment and creates a stormwater management fund used to address infrastructure needs.
Even if you think you may not be impacted by stormwater, having emergency services be able to get to places because the road isn't flooded, and protection of areas that have very high flooding events.
The program will be funded by a new stormwater fee that the council passed in December, and the city expects to begin collecting the stormwater fees from property owners beginning this summer. Well, the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management is already out and on standby during all these severe weather threats, and that includes assisting counties across the state. Emergency Management says the best thing you can do is have an emergency kit and stay informed even after warnings expire.
6 inches of moving water can knock a person down, and 2 feet of moving water can sweep a vehicle away. So that's why we say never attempt to cross moving water.
Emergency kits should include things like water, non-perishable food, a first aid kit, a flashlight, a radio, and extra batteries. Well, breaking right now at noon, financial markets around the world are reeling following President Donald Trump's latest volley of tariffs. At one point, the Dow was down more than 1,500 points. And the highest tariffs are set to take effect soon, starting with an across-the-board baseline tariff of 10%, along with added reciprocal tariffs on nations that impose duties on U.S. goods. As Natalie Brand reports, the White House says the move is designed to spur manufacturing here in the U.S.
The Dow sank more than 1,000 points at Thursday's opening, digesting the Trump administration's sweeping tariff plan.
These changes in the stock market, while they're initial, long-term, you've got to assume, and medium-term, and employment-based, you're going to see America thrive.
President Trump is imposing a 10% baseline tariff on nearly all trading partners, then hitting dozens of countries with reciprocal tariffs. The White House says they're roughly half of what those countries are charging the U.S.
Reciprocal, that means they do it to us and we do it to them.
The Trump administration is defending its plan as a long-term strategy, saying it's a matter of national security.
The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it.
China faces a new 34% tariff on top of what's already been imposed. The EU faces a 20% reciprocal tariff.
What the United States is doing is pushing countries away from us.
Economists say Americans can expect higher prices for everything from electronics to clothing.
Allies have tried to talk him out of it, but he really doesn't seem to understand that tariffs are paid by Americans.
Exempt from the new tariffs, Canada and Mexico, which are already facing taxes on select goods that the president put in place earlier this year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
In response to President Trump's 25% tariff now in effect on foreign cars and car parts, Stellantis announced a pause on production at some of its Canadian and Mexican assembly plants. That's led to some temporary layoffs at the company's plants in Michigan and Indiana. And a federal judge has officially dismissed criminal corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Adams was indicted last September for bribery and campaign finance violations. The Justice Department asked for the case to be dropped, and the judge agreed, but his ruling means that Adams cannot be retried on the same charges. Some argued the decision was necessary to prevent the appearance that the mayor was acting under political pressure from the White House.
As I've said all along, this case should have never been brought. And I did nothing wrong. I have always been solely beholden to the people of this city. No special interests, no political opponents, but just everyday New Yorkers. Just you. And I'm going to continue to do that.
The ruling comes one day after Mayor Adams joined a multi-state lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's cuts to health care programs. Adams is up for re-election this November. Well, here at home, plans to fund a new prison in Franklin County are facing hurdles at the state capitol. This week, state lawmakers shot down a bill that would allocate funds to the 3,000-bed facility. And even though the bill has failed twice now, under Arkansas law, it can be resubmitted after failing during the session, and there's no limit on how many times lawmakers can vote on it. Organizers with Gravel and Grit, a nonprofit created against the prison, say they're continuing to fight as the bill keeps coming back.
Finally, our representatives have a chance to weigh in and give some say on this whole process that's been run by the executive branch and with total disregard for our legislative branch. And they had their say. They weighed in, They lost the vote decisively. It should be over, but that's not how it works.
By the way, the Senate is expected to vote on the appropriations bill again in just about an hour. We reached out to the governor's office for comment on the vote, and a spokesperson gave us this statement. It says, quote, Governor Sanders and a bipartisan majority of the legislators agree it's time to fund the Franklin County Prison, fund public safety, and fund the future of Arkansas. The governor will continue to work with the legislature to get this appropriation passed. Meanwhile, lawmakers across party lines are introducing two separate bills with the goal of helping former inmates stay out of prison. One bill partners with the Department of Corrections to create coordinated, evidence-based programs focused on education and reentry services, and the other supports individuals on probation, parole, and post-release supervision to help them stay on the right track.
I mean, if someone commits a violent crime, they need to be incarcerated. We need to do what we can to make sure that once they are released, they don't come back. That's in everyone's best interest. It's in their best interest, but it's also in all of our best interest as well.
Both measures have cleared the Judiciary Committee.